Hey guys, we only have 3 weeks till Brookwood, Chicago. I'm scared. Guys, I thought that'd be more funny on camera, but you guys might take that seriously. Guys, we're fine. I think we're gonna actually finish the mock on time, and we're not gonna be rushed at all, so. Hey guys, welcome to week 79 of Building My Custom Venator. We only have 3 weeks left till Brookwood, Chicago, which is crazy to think about. But I'm going to explain my 3-week process of how we're going to get this thing complete. So we don't rush this mock for Brookwood, Chicago. I just hate how content creators rush their mocks last minute, and that's not what we're going to do here. We've been working on this thing for so long, and I'm not going to do a bad job in this mock because I'm trying to hit some artificial deadline like Brookwood, Chicago. So here is our 3-week goal for Brookwood, Chicago. In week 1 of the process, we're going to be building all the engines. All 4 of them will be completed by the end of this week, hopefully. We're going to be picking up a Clone Wars era Y-Wing from a store I know has one. And we're going to be building all of the weapons turrets on the Venator. Now, the weapons turrets, I think that might be a bit of a high goal considering how long these engines take to build. I mean, there's 1,000 pieces in each one of these engines, and I just think it's going to take way too long to build all of these engines. But hopefully we can get them done along with the weapons turrets. If we can't get the weapons turrets done, I'm okay with moving that to next week. It's a really quick process that should only take maybe 2 to 3 hours because it's just a repeat design. And since we already have it prototyped, we're all set for when we get the parts in. Then in week 2, my main goal is to be working on the hangar. If we can work on the hangar, that would be great because I don't love how low detail there is on, the red panels that open up, and I would love to try and motorize those. I don't know if that's going to be a feasible goal by Brookwood, Chicago, because something like that would take a long time to do. But if you can figure out a quick solution, we might just motorize it in week 2 of Building My Custom Venator. But if we can't, I'm okay with the way it is. Then in week 3, we're going to call that cleanup. So basically anything that's been broken, like for example, the underneath panel that goes underneath this section, it's completely destroyed. We need to work on that a lot. So anything that's been broken, we're going to be cleaning up in those 2 to 3 days before Brookwood, Chicago, when we have to transport this thing there. So that's essentially our plan for Brookwood, Chicago, and how we're going to get this thing done and completed within the next 3 weeks. Now, let's head into the update. But first, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button because we're going to be working super hard to make sure we can get this mock done and complete it to a quality of standard I am happy with. So to start off this week, we're going to a Bricks and Minifigs right now to pick up that Clone Wars Y-Wing.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Not even the Star Wars guy, and I still bought the Star Wars. Okay?
Man, this thing is beautiful. We just wrapped up the live stream, and I absolutely love this thing. Make sure to stick to the end of the update so that way you can see it inside the Venator. Starting off this week, we're taking a look at the engine once again. Now, I hate to be back here working on this once again, but we do have to make this perfect for Brookwood, Chicago. So, right here, we do have this engine that is the proper size. Now, we built a duplicate of this a while back. I don't know if you guys remember, but we basically put this one next to another one over here, and this one is supposed to be smaller. Now, I thought it'd be okay to use the same size as this one, but it just didn't look right because this one's supposed to be smaller just a little bit in the ways of width. So, we're going to be working on developing a new engine right here this week. So we began work on a smaller cylinder, as you guys can see, and it looks pretty good. I don't know if it's the right size yet. I still gotta figure that out. But we basically used building techniques that were smaller in almost every single way. So this technique right here, where you use these 2x2 plates that are curved, is used right here. So basically, that will be our main column gorge, like this part right here. And then over here for this tiny section, which is supposed to be replicated over here, we basically just had a bunch of 4x4 circular plates that we stacked together. I would like to change that up a bit because I don't really love the look of that, but we aren't sure if we're going to use that technique or not. And then we used one of these big columns at the end that is a big technique piece because I thought it would be a time saver real quick, because basically what we had to do is create this method right here again, and just for scaling and trying to see how it looks, we're using this piece in the meantime so we can get a sense for scale, because I would hate to design this massive thing right here only for it to be the wrong size. So now I'm going to take a look at some reference images to see if this is the right way to do this in the ways of sizing. Of course, this will be out much longer because, you know, these two are almost the same length in length, but it's just complicated to figure out the scaling of these engines. So apparently this engine's too small, and I also realized after looking at several Venators, no one has acknowledged the sizes in this Venator engine and this engine, which is kind of crazy to me because it's not a major detail, but I thought some people would have tried to attempt it. Now, I think I might just go down the route of using this big engine right here as well, because the size difference isn't that, you know, different. But the problem is, I don't know of any other building method that would make this engine slightly smaller, because this is the next size down from basically this size rim. So I don't know what I would do in this case, but I think it would be best if I just went back to using two of these big engines on the back right here. So I'm gonna go try and recreate this, of course a little bit smaller in scale, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to use this design I created right here. Okay guys, so we began to work on the second engine, and it's looking pretty good in the ways of like length and etc, and the ways of width. Everything seems to be working out pretty good. We do finally at last start to have a little bit of sag in between here. I'm surprised that this hasn't occurred sooner, just because this is only 3 studs wide and it's pouring these massive heavy engines. Like, these are humongous, but thanks to all the technical engineering we did earlier, it's strong. And it will be even stronger when we fix it up and complete this entire wall, which will hopefully account for all the weight that these engines are going to bring, because these things are really heavy. But on the bright side of things, this is looking rather well. We shrunk this down to 4 instead of 5, and this one is going to be 6 instead of 7. And this, I made a mistake right here, and I forgot to include this piece. So we got to extend this out a little bit more, because my goal is to shrink each section by 1 or 2 bricks to make it work, in a sense, to be a smaller engine than this main engine over here. So that's what we've been working on for the past few hours now. But this is a very complex thing because studs are placed at different places, and it's just extremely hard to recreate this. But I'll give you guys a quick update when we figure out the length of this piece right here, so you can see how long both of these will look combined. Okay, we now have both engines installed at the proper length, and I think they came out pretty good in the ways of the length for them. And now we can add more detailing onto this to basically complete it, along with the other one as well, so we can have both those engines done and we can move on to our next goal this week. However, the one thing I did start to realize is it is sagging ever so slightly. You can't really tell because it's such a small sag, but if you look over here, you can see pretty clearly the sag that is happening. This is supposed to be up against this beam, so we definitely need to add some more support for that. Although we're not done with this wall yet, and it'll be stronger eventually, I do think it'd be wise if we basically wrapped around this wall right here around to the front end, and basically a loop-de-loop around this column right here, which is what we're going to try to do next. So while we were working on this massive wall, I also discovered that the bottom half needed some tiles, and I did that on the other side, but I've been wanting to do it for here for a while. But I figured I might have to do something like this, so I figured now would be the perfect time to replace the bottom edge with tiles all across the board. So I did that as well. But we built this massive brick wall, and now everything works perfectly. Just look at how strong these engines are. I mean, there's not a single bit of sag, which is absolutely incredible, considering there's only like 5 studs of width right here and 3 studs of width right here. The engineering that went into this is absolutely incredible, and I'm really happy about that. Now we gotta finish up these engines and also the paneling that goes right here, because we have to get these engines done since Brookwood Chicago is only in a few weeks. For this part of the update, it was kind of complicated to try and figure out a method that would work well for the smaller engine. Now, basically, what we tried to do was just use the same technique that we used before, but we had to modify some bricks in a sense to make it work, and it worked pretty well, except for when we got to the tip edge where we had to modify some of the ideas that we used in the previous engine. But I think this method is actually stronger and better than the first engine because we improved our ideas here. But overall, I love this engine. I think it's coming out better than the first one because it's so much stronger. Alright, we've gone full ascend on production mode. We got this engine just about complete, and we have another engine on the verge of construction. These things take forever because there's probably about 1,000 pieces in each one of these, which is absolutely insane. Like on the inside core and everything, it's just crazy how many pieces are inside these things. But we basically made our shells for all of them right now. So what we gotta do is basically attach all these little pieces like that onto this shell, which is what we're gonna do right now. What we're doing right here is the easiest part of making these columns, because the hard part is already laid out for us, which is the angled piece at the very tip. That always adds so much time to the building process, and since I decided to do that for all of them to add that beautiful detail, it just takes forever and ever and ever. But this part is so satisfying to me because we finally get to stack up all these parts that I've been holding for a long time. But what I was surprised with was how quickly this engine came together. I think this engine came together in under an hour or maybe 2 hours, I'm not 100% sure. But for 1,000 pieces on these engines, that's pretty good considering how complicated they are to build. Now, if it's a straightforward build, sure, that's pretty simple. I am a pretty fast builder for most respects, but when it comes to something this complicated like the Venator and you have to figure out all these angles for the first time, it's kind of hard. But since I've already done this 2 times before, it made it a lot easier. Okay, so this is insane. We have all 4 Venator engines attached, which is absolutely insane. Minus the 2 small ones up here, this one and this one, and then this one and this one. But look at how crazy all 4 of these engines look. Of course, not a single one of them is complete, mainly because I ran out of these pieces right here, which holds this, thing on the end that you guys saw a few weeks ago. I'm going to pull up an image right now, of course, but this is supposed to go on the end of each one of these Venators, and it stays consistent across the process. Now you may be curious where it is. Well, actually, it broke apart because it's so fragile. So hopefully we'll work on making it stronger next update as well. But I need to order basically more of these cylindrical parts because I am out of those. Also, you see over there on engine 3 that there is a lot of stuff missing. The main reason for that is because I ran out of these parts right here, these 1x3s. I got a few scattered around the room, but in short, I ran out. I don't know how, because I ordered 600 of them, but they're out. So I need to order some more of those as well because I just really need those. Same thing goes for 1x2s of those. Yeah, I have plenty of 1x4s, but not 1x2s or 1x3s. So I definitely need to order some more of those for next week's update. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the progress. We actually built this off camera, a little bit more of the wall and also engine 3 basically. But we built a little bit more of the wall to make this one strong and supported. However, we don't have enough time this week to get the last engine 4 down there to get supported, which is why it's sagging upward, because there is something underneath supporting it. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a little tiny little thing dangling off the edge. So I'm kind of putting a risk on that engine right there, but they're pretty strong, so they don't tend to break too easily. But overall, I'm super happy with how this came out this week. This is just insane to look at all of the work that we did and how it came out. I am just astounded with this, and it looks so cool. I didn't think it was gonna look this cool, but it does. I just can't wait to get them complete and making them look even cleaner next week. Oh, and I couldn't just end the update without showing you this amazing Clone Wars wiring in the Venator. Okay, wow, that looks so cool in there. I am really happy with how this Clone Wars wiring fits in there perfectly, and that's how I'm going to display it at Brookwood, Chicago. I'm going to just put the Clone Wars wiring right here. Okay, so that's unfortunately going to wrap it up for this week on the Venator update. As you guys can probably tell, we're a little bit behind on schedule, as you can tell, because, I over-anticipate what I can do. But I still do think we can get this done. We are about to begin week 2 as soon as this update posts, so we still have around 18 days left till Brookwood, Chicago, and I think that is more than enough time for me to get everything done, considering I did most of the progress you saw here in under 3 days, because I was in Colorado for a few of those days. My dad wanted to go on vacation, so I went with him to Colorado. It was kind of nice up there. But that is wrap it up for this week on the Custom Venator update. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button down below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out and goodbye.